Kneel stances. Kneel stances are of two types, wide and close. The major difference between the wide and close kneels is the space between the knees. The feet are basically the same distance apart in width as a neutral bow, but may vary in depth depending on circumstances. 3 facts explains its use. 1. The body drops in height, thereby giving power to your downward treks, as it employs the principle of gravitational marriage, avoids an attack by going under it, or to help reach a low target. 2. As with most stance changes, there is usually a rotation of the hips and shoulders, which can boost the force of a horizontal strike. The combination of change in height plus the rotation will increase the effectiveness of a strike moving diagonally downward. 3. The rear knee drops down and may therefore act as a weapon, as a check or a pin, or as a push to buckle an opponent's leg. Although the wide kneel has greater stability, the fact remains that a close kneel can be extremely useful offensively as well as defensively. Both should not be overlooked, since they are definitely alphabets of motion that can help increase your vocabulary of motion. Wide kneel stance. A wide kneel stance is no more than a neutral bow with the rear knee dropped and forced out in the direction it was facing. There is no change in the positioning of the front leg or foot. However, the rear heel is raised off the ground to allow the knee to bend down further. Both knees are forced apart, hence the name wide kneel. The stance is quite low, the weight equally divided between the 2 feet, and the back is straight. Analytical study of the wide kneel. Front view. Keep your right arm low. Make sure your knees are forced apart. Have your weight equally distributed on both legs. Keep your eyes straight ahead. Keep your left arm high. Keep your forward foot position in the same positions as that of your left neutral bow. Top view. Keep your shoulders in line with your hips. Your rear leg is at a 30-degree angle to your line of sight. Keep your body parallel to the wall in front of you. Side view. Keep your back straight. Keep your buttocks tucked in. Make sure the heel of your right foot is off the ground. Keep the ball of your right foot on the ground. Keep your head erect. Place your hands and arms in guard position. Keep your left foot flat. Finding the proper dimensions. First, find the proper dimensions for a neutral bow. Now bend, drop, and force your rear knee out on a 30-degree angle from your upper body, which is vertical and erect. Make sure your rear knee is 1 hand span, your hand, from the ground. Although the width and depth of this stance is the same as a neutral bow, even though the rear heel is raised, a hand span measurement should aid you in obtaining the proper height for the stance. Data summation of the wide kneel. Foot position. Forward foot is at a 45-degree angle to your opponent. Rear foot at a 45-degree angle from your opponent, resting on the ground. Like a neutral bow, only your body drops in position. Weight distribution, 50-50. Rear knee is forced out. Reason and purpose. The drop in height gives added power, that is gravitational marriage, avoids an attack, gives you better access to low targets, can act as a pin or check, and gives greater stability. Close kneel stance. The close kneel stance is no more than a forward bow with the rear knee dropped 1 to 2 inches from the ground. The width remains the same, but the depth may fluctuate by sliding the rear foot forward on your line of sight. This, of course, would depend on the necessary adjustments needed at the time because of circumstance. Like the wide kneel, there is no change in the positioning of the front leg or foot, and the rear heel is also raised off the ground to allow the knee to bend freely. The forward knee is the only one forced out. The rear knee is kept in and close to the forward leg, hence the name, close kneel. The stance is exceedingly low. The weight equally divided between the 2 feet, and the back is straight. The close kneel is lower than the wide kneel, since the rear knee is kept closer to the ground. The weight, though equally distributed, is centered over the right knee. Analytical study of the close kneel. Front view. Keep your right arm low. Have your right knee brought straight down. Have your weight distributed equally on both legs. Keep your eyes straight ahead. Keep your left arm high. Force your left knee out. Your forward or left foot should be positioned identically to that of a left neutral bow. Top view. Your shoulders should be in line with your hips. Make sure your right leg is parallel to your line of sight. Line your body to that wall in front of you. Side view. Keep your back straight. Tuck your buttocks in. Raise your right heel off of the ground. Keep the ball of your right foot onto the ground. Keep your head erect. Make sure your arms and hands are in guard position. Keep your forward or left foot flat. Keep your right knee 1 to 2 inches off of the ground. Finding the proper dimensions. The first step is to find the proper dimensions for a forward bow. Once obtained, bend and drop your rear knee straight down toward the floor and about 1 to 2 inches from it. Make sure your rear knee does not touch the ground, although the width and depth of this stance is the same as a forward bow. Even though the rear heel is raised, having your rear knee 1 to 2 inches from the ground should aid you in obtaining the proper height for this stance. Data summation of the close kneel. Foot position. Forward foot is at a 45-degree angle to your opponent. Rear foot is at a 90-degree angle to your opponent, resting on the ball of the foot with the heel off of the ground. Rear foot may shuffle forward if an adjustment is needed, like the forward bow, only your body drops in position. Weight distribution, 50-50. Rear knee is dropped straight down so that it parallels the vertical angle of your head. Reason and purpose. The drop in height gives added power through gravitational marriage, avoids an attack, allows for better access to low targets, can act as a pin, check, or be used to fracture, and it also gives instant stability.